Grumble, grumble.
Hey everyone, it's the Grumpy Meeple, and I'm coming back at you with some more Shadows of Brimstone bonus hero coverage. I don't really know what to call these guys. Hero packs. And this time we're going to be looking at the Gambler. Okay. Starting us off. A staple of any Old West gambling hall or two-bit saloon, the Gambler is a master of manipulation. Though not the fastest draw with a six-shooter or toughest fighter, when the punches start flying, a gambler can read his opponents by the look in their eye or the twitch on their fingers. Through a wink and a smile, a cunning plan, and a few fancy tricks, a good gambler can manipulate just about any situation into their favor. And if Lady Luck turns a blind eye, well, there's always cheating. This hero pack contains everything you need to play as a gambler in your games of Shadows of Brimstone. You get the male and hero and female miniatures and hero card. You get the large character sheet with the upgrade chart. You get your counters and all the cards that you need. So the Gambler, the basic gist is he's a master of manipulating cards and dice using his gambling tricks to cheat the system or stack the deck in his favor. So the Gambler is really interesting because I've never actually played as the Gambler, but my understanding is that he gives you a level of kind of RNG manipulation and protection from RNG that you're typically not getting outside of just using your grit. So some of the things he starts with his he starts with a gambler's trick called Fortune's Favor. He's got an ability called Poker Face. Whenever you collect gold from any gambling in town, you may collect an extra D6 times 50. So, first of all, that's potentially a lot of gold very early, especially if you're playing in the Old West where it's ridiculously easy to gamble and make tons of money. That's actually pretty cool. And you know what? Let's move on to this maybe for now. His other ability is Lady Luck. Starts with one random gambling trick. Draw two, choose one. Each gambling trick may only be used once per turn. Anytime you catch your breath, you may also recover D3 fortune tokens. And he's got he starts with 3 fortune tokens, and that's the max that he can hold. In terms of the fortune tokens, what we're looking at here is fortune tokens are a resource used by the Gambler to activate his gambling trick cards, allowing him to manipulate cards and dice during the game. Gambler has a fortune value, which is the number of tokens he starts with. We just talked about that. Tokens are reset at the start of each adventure and each time he travels to town. Recovered through catch your breath, yada yada. Yeah, and then he's got his gambling tricks, which are where he can spend the fortune to power the tricks, basically. So the card will tell you, use 1 fortune, use 2 fortune, etc. And the gambling tricks allow you to manipulate elements of the game to be in your favor. Yeah, the text on the trick card tells you how many fortune must be spent to use it, if any skill test is necessary, and what it does. And we'll go through those cards here in a minute. Each gambling trick can only be used once per turn. Combining gambling tricks. Each gambling trick on its own can be very powerful, but they can often be combined together in fun and creative ways. That sounds really cool. And Fortune's Favor is the starting trick that all gamblers have. And it can be a powerful tool to get you or your posse out of a seemingly hopeless situation. So let's see here. Yeah, Fortune's Favor. Starting trick. Use 1 fortune token to reroll any single die just rolled, even if it's already been rerolled. That's really cool. And it also says this, it does specify this cannot target a die that's specifically excluded from using grit on, such as a hold back the darkness roll. So everybody starts with that, which gives you a really easy way to spend your fortune to manipulate events in your favor. Okay. I'm kind of hopping around here a little bit. Hopping back to the character card. He starts with performer and showman are his keywords. 2 combat, max 2 grit. His range is 4+, melee is 5+. Not great. Health and sanity are both 10. I had a 4+. Again, nothing special there. He's got really high agility and cunning and luck, of course. And his initiative is pretty good. And we already talked about everything else. In terms of starting items, he starts with your kind of bog standard pistol, range 6, shots 2. And then he gets that Fortune's Favor gambling trick. So let's take a look at the 3 kind of subclasses that you can choose from. Just make sure everything's on the screen here. All right, first of all, High Roller. Your 2 hit rolls of 6+ do +1 damage. Whenever you recover a grit, you may also recover 1 fortune token. That's pretty powerful. Extra damage and extra fortune tokens, which might equal more extra damage. Fancy Footwork. You may roll an extra die for move each turn and choose which to use. If doubles are rolled on your move dice, then recover 1 fortune token. That sounds horrible, especially if you're using the fixed movement, which I do. I'm doing in my current playthrough at least. Side Belt, +1 luck. When making any skill test, cunning, luck, spirit, etc., if you roll 3 of a kind, recover a fortune token. However, if you roll 3 ones, lose D3 fortune tokens instead. Wow. Okay. So High Roller definitely stands out to me as the starting ability of choice there. Taking a look at the gambling tricks. Where to start? Let's start right here with Double Down. Once per fight, use 1 fortune token when you're about to make a damage roll for one of your hits. Double the amount rolled for damage before any modifiers. If the target would not be killed by this hit, the hit does no damage instead. Huh. So you have to use this before you do your damage roll. That's interesting. That Double Down. That's a great title for this card. So this card could have you doing 12 damage and even more, if you took the High Roller, you're already doing +1 damage. So if you roll the 6, you could be doing 13 damage off of a single shot. But you could also completely whiff and miss. That would be bad. We talked about Fortune's Favor. Next up here, we've got Bluff. Use 1 fortune token, and you get XP for using these too, which is very nice. And that's a good amount of XP, 20 XP. I mean, you've got 3 tokens to start out every adventure with, or at least the first adventure. So that's 60 XP just built in just by using these. Use 1 fortune token when you're about to be attacked by an enemy before dice are rolled to make a luck 6+ test. If passed, that attack is canceled. If failed, all hits from that attack are +1 damage against you. Okay, so that's... These are cool. It's very much a push your luck. Counting cards. Use 1 fortune token just after a card has been drawn from any deck and make a cunning 6+ test. If passed, place that card here face down and draw a new card to play instead. Any card already here is placed back in its proper deck. D3 cards down from the top of the deck. Any card. Just after a card has been drawn from any deck. So this would let you, soak that horrible darkness card that just came out or something like that. And then get rid of it, basically, for the rest of the game. Stack the deck. Use 1 fortune token to choose any card deck, then make a cunning 6+ test. If passed, look at the top 3 cards of that deck. Choose 1 to discard and put the other 2 back on top of the deck in any order. Can't be used on decks that don't have a discard pile, like Scoop, Loot, or Scavenge, which makes sense. That would be insanely overpowered if you could use that on either of those. Cheat. Here we go. Use 2 fortune tokens and take 1 corruption hit to select any number of dice just rolled and make a cunning 6+ test. If passed, for each 6+ rolled, choose 1 of the selected die and rotate it to be on any facing you like. That die now counts as though it had rolled the facing you chose. And again, you can't use it on stuff you can't use grid on. Ace in the hole. If there's no die here, use 1 fortune die when you roll a 6 on any single die to place that die here. Roll a new 6 to replace the 6 that was rolled. While there's a die here, use 1 fortune to make a luck 5+ test. If passed, replace any single die just rolled with the 6 that was here, removing the die. Wow, okay, so replace your 1 to hit roll with a 6. Tip the scales. Use 1 fortune token to choose any single die just rolled to make a luck 5+ test. For each 5+ rolled, you may add or subtract 1 from the chosen die roll. Can't adjust it above what the die could naturally roll, which makes sense. And then we've got our Gambler hero sheet, which, these are usually pretty similar. There's nothing really crazy here. At the start of each adventure, choose 1 of the following keywords to have until the end of the adventure: Traveler, Frontier, Outlaw, Soldier, Strange. That's a cool idea for an upgrade. It'd be a pain in the ass to track because you'd have to constantly be changing it. I would almost rather it just let you permanently add one of those. +1 cunning, +1 initiative, +1 strength and health sanity, +1 move or +1 spirit and health, d6 health and d6 sanity, +1 move or +1 luck and sanity, 2 side bag token capacity plus d6 health, +1 max grit, +1 luck, and Darkstone resistance. So you have a couple chances to increase your luck here, which is very powerful given his ability set. And speaking of which, we have the Gambler upgrade chart. Tricks of the trade, your trees here, tricks of the trade, roll the bones, civilized, and card shark. Tricks of the trade. Nimble Fingers gets you a new gambling trick and +1 agility. Tell. For each to hit roll of 1 an enemy rolls when attacking you, you may cancel one of its other successful to hit rolls on you. +1 fortune. Old Hand gets you another gambling trick and +1 cunning. Make your own luck. You start every adventure with a revive token usable only by you. Gain 25 XP anytime you use it, and you get another +1 luck. Okay, that's pretty powerful. On a roll, whenever you kill an enemy, you may recover 1 fortune token. Okay, and that's really nice for feeding you fortune. And you get +1 to your move. Boxcars. Anytime you roll a 6 for willpower, defense, or any skill test, you may change any other single die of that test into a 6 as well. Gets you +1 initiative. Blow for luck. Once per turn, you may spend 1 grit to recover 1 fortune or vice versa. Interesting. Gets you +1 fortune. And then Let It Ride. Anytime you roll 4 or more dice together, you may choose any number of those dice to re-roll once. These dice do not count as having been re-rolled. Okay, that's really powerful. You get some totally badass weapon that's, rolling 6 to, I don't even know if it's possible, rolling 6 or 8 to hit dice. And you could save yourself from a total disaster and still use your grit on it. Civilized, what I say. Once per adventure, you may recover fortune tokens up to your max, +1 lore. That's a great first upgrade in the first tier here. Affectation. At the start of each adventure, draw a random personal item to use until the end of that adventure town stay. This is in addition to your normal personal item. This is really cool, but again, it requires you to go back into your pile of crap and get out the personal item cards every time you play this guy. It's a little finicky. Fancy pants. You are +1 health and +1 sanity for each of the following clothing items that you have equipped: hat, belt, coat, pants, torso, gloves, and boots. You may not stay in the campsite in town, okay, because you don't want to get your fancy clothes dirty, so you have to pay to stay at the saloon or the inn. That's really cool and really powerful too. That could get you an extra 8 health and sanity. Entourage. You only need to pay 50% of the base cost to hire for any allies hired. All items and tokens in town cost you 20% less, rounding up to the nearest $5, +1 fortune. All items, I mean, that could save you thousands of gold, potentially. Some of the items in town are insanely expensive. Maybe not thousands, but that's interesting. And it's incentivizing taking followers, allies, which is cool. Card shock, play to win. Your poker face ability now gives a bonus d6 +2 × 50 instead, but also gives you an extra unwanted attention marker, +1 fortune. So that's one of the abilities that's written on the card here. Whenever you collect gold from any gambling in town, you collect an extra d6 +50. So this guy could be like a gold machine if you wanted. Cutthroat. You add +1 shot and +1 damage to any light gun you use, such as a holdout pistol. +1 max crit. Full house. +1 cunning and defense 3+. Aces high. If your cunning is higher than an enemy's initiative, you are +1 on your to hit rolls assigned to them, to that enemy. 6+ is a critical hit. And that's it. Oh, and we've got the miniature here. I only have the male miniature assembled, I think. And I've done my incredibly shitty fake painting job on him, you know. But some nice detail there. He's got his little cigar. And that's it for the Gambler. That's a really, really interesting hero class with a lot of ability to mess with the game in ways that basically nobody else has, at least that I've seen. And so, yeah, it's very cool. It's a cool set. The set comes with 2 miniatures. You get the male and the female miniature for the Gambler, and with all cards and a bunch of fortune tokens too. I just have one out as an example. So let me know what you think about the Gambler in the comments. Anybody played a Gambler out there? Do you find that they're particularly powerful? Are you just a money-generating machine going around kind of being a scumbag in the saloons, grinding for gold? Or what's your experience like with the old Gambler there? And yeah, let me know in the comments, and I will talk to you later.